And now we move on to with our discussion, but before we continue on, let's have this quick report. And Chadian Ministerial Summit pushes for final ceasefire in Sudan. Let's watch. Right, welcome back. And definitely Egypt has been one of the founders of the Organization of the African Unity at then, which is now the African Union, and it has been holding the chairmanship of this union. The last time was 2019, where Egypt has been speaking on behalf of Africa on the international arena. If we get back to our main topic, and definitely the foreign policy of Egypt has been seeing quantum leap in different angles and from different spheres. And to highlight the issue, we have with us over the phone His Excellency Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good evening to you, Your Excellency.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you so much. And we're speaking here about Egypt's foreign policy. If we may take it from the angle of Egypt restoring or cementing, particularly in the past few years, its position on the international arena and the Egyptian policy of dealing with challenges and hardships.
Yes, as you well know, that our foreign policy is covering different circles. On the international level, of course, we are initiator of the international system, United Nations system. On the regional level, we were one of the initiators of the Arab League countries. With 7 countries, now we are 22 countries. And the sub-regional part of our Arab foreign policy is also something we have to mention. Our relation with Africa, since Muhammad Ali Pasha, the discoveries of the River Nile, some tribes in Africa are proud that they have pharaonic origin. Then, during the time of Gamal Abdel Nasser and his friendship with many African leaders, that we have something we have to mention. Boutros Ghali is well known everywhere in Africa, and I remember that we were benefiting from this, of course. Now, thank God that we are one of the most acceptable place in the African continent. We are well represented there. All the Africans are appreciating the Egyptian effort since the struggle against the colonialism. And now Egypt is representing Africa in the Security Council much more than any other country. We have the chairmanship of the African Union more than any other country. Our president was acting as the chairman of the continent or the African Union during 2019. So our relations, especially since the June revolution, is becoming very strong, because we were lacking in 20 years before the revolution the level of the president. Nobody was taking care of the diplomacy of the president. Now we have our president, which went everywhere in the world, went the most of the African cities and capitals. Cairo is lucky to host much more embassies than any other capital in the world. So this is a proof that we are well presented everywhere in the world, especially in the Arab world, especially in Africa, with our neighbors in Europe. So as an old diplomat, I must be proud of this.
Yes, and we are all proud of our Egyptian diplomacy. We speak about the foreign policy of Egypt and the constant position of Egypt's foreign policy and the basis of them, particularly in its partnership, strategic relations and cooperation with the whole world, and how Egypt dealt with regional and international challenges.
Yes, of course, and we have many challenges, and at the same time we have many opportunities. But the challenges are serious. We have the problem of the Ukraine war. We have the problem of the epidemic of corona. On our regional level, we have many problems. The Arab League countries are not in very good health. What's happening in Sudan is annoying us. We are hosting 9 million migrants from Sudan, from Syria, from Lebanon, from Palestine, from Libya. What's happening in Libya is annoying us because this is our western border. We have to deal with it seriously. We hosted several meetings concerning Sudan, of course. And on top of this, the Palestinian question, which is the most important file in our foreign policy as Arabs and as Egypt. But also we have some positive chances that, thank God, that Egypt is becoming the most attractive country within the Arab world for foreign direct investment, especially coming from some Arab countries in the Gulf and in other countries who have surplus in capital. All these things are directing our attitude and our efforts within our foreign policy with the Arabs, with Africa, and we have a success story with Europe also. I am always marketing for the Egyptian production that if you produce in Egypt, this is the message we are conveying to investors. If you produce in Egypt, then you are exempted from custom duties, from any trade barriers in a market of 2,000 million inhabitants. This is something attractive. And thank God and to this and to our efforts, now we are the most attracting country for foreign direct investment within our area. But I am greedy. I have more hopes that we can double this effort because we have challenges like the increase of population in our country. We have to face this. We have to face all the needs of the needy classes and the middle class also in order to make every Egyptian satisfied with our foreign policy and our economic policy.
Indeed, indeed. Your Excellency, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you so much for being with us over the phone and for your input here. This is the features, the big headlines of Egypt's foreign policy. Egypt has been returning back to the international arena, particularly in the past few years. Egypt has regained its position on the African continent. Egypt has maintained its keenness on the Arab world and its solidarity and trials and efforts to put the causes of the Arab or the Arab causes in the forefront of its priorities, and also has always worked on the stability, security and territorial integrity with political solutions to all conflicts. In its dealing with the outside world, it has always been open to an openness of relations to the whole world, extending its hand always with just few bases: the mutual respect and the non-interference in the domestic affairs, but these were the constant bases of the foreign policy. I guess that brings us to the end of this episode of our program Daily Debate. Next episode, or next the coming episode would be on Sunday. So many thanks for watching and good night.